bang, wallop, bish, bash, bosh, wishy washy. How's your mother? She's alright. You're listening to Chatting Up the Chick. This is episode 30. What's your mother? And this week we are into our update of poor Aotearoa. Yes. So we start off this week's podcast with some sad news. The sad news is I've upgraded my bicycle. I've upgraded the old Fathom, the terracotta pie, and I've given him 2 mudguards. And the reason why I say it's sad news is I was having a conversation with someone at work and was talking about when he was young and he was growing up. I don't know whether this pervades every generation or if I assume it does. But when you had a bicycle, the first thing you did was you got rid of those mudguards because they were sad. That was like the whole prevailing thought process of a child growing up in the UK for myself. And the first thing I had to get rid of was the mudguards because I didn't want to look like a pleb. So yeah, I fixated my eyes upon mudguards for this big long trip through New Zealand. Because let's be honest, there's going to be times when it's going to be pissing down with rain. West Coast, hello, I'm talking to you. And it's I'm going to have a few bags on my bike, and the last thing I want to do is spray them with water and get them soaking wet and just be a miserable get for the next 6 days. Yeah. Right, on this week's episode, as well as telling you stories of mudguards, I wanted this week to highlight my next charity that I am going to be donating the money to, that you lovely people have been donating to me, and that is Otautahi Animal Rescue. Now, for people who don't know, Animal Refuge, should I say, not rescue. But hey, look, the acronym is OAR. So Refuge, Rescue, they both work. So this is basically another group of people or a person in themselves who have kind of found their way into my heart without actually knowing. So fair play to you. This was a place that my wife found a few years ago when we had basically we'd found a rabbit on the street. We'd adopted that rabbit into our home as no one had claimed it. We did put up some messages and stuff around the local area, but no one claimed it. So Sammy became part of our fabric of our life, and she was sadly she passed away this year. It was a very sad time. She was a very skitty rabbit that didn't really have much time for me or Alison. So we decided, you know what, we should really get Sammy a friend. So we found this Otautahi Animal Refuge, and the one thing that they do is that they take in it's like a rehabilitation for abused and neglected domestic pets, and rabbits are one of the main animals that they actually take in. So we went to see him, and at the point they were, I think the lady was basically doing the whole operation out of a house that she was renting. There was just rabbits everywhere. It was awesome. It was like the ultimate petting zoo. So it was a place down in, I want to say Woolston, down near Woolston way, near the Foundry. And it was just your bog standard kind of property, 3-bedroom. But there was probably around 30, 40, maybe even 50 rabbits. So you can imagine like the space you need for that amount of rabbits. And for someone like myself who just arrived and was like, rabbits, woohoo! Like it was, like I said, it was the most amazing place to ever have visited in my life. Anyway, I'm getting way ahead of myself and getting too excited about this whole operation. What we ended up doing is we ended up donating. We ended up adopting Harry Hopper, who's actually sitting right next to me. Hey, Harry. Good. Actually, I'm going to play you a little video of Harry Hopper at his cutest. You're going to love this. Watch this. Thanks, Harry. That's the best dog wash I've had in years. I'm all grimy and rabbity. Oh, will you give it a rest? Come on. Hey? What is wrong with you? It's because I had a good sweat. You love my salty legs. See, I told you he was awesome, wasn't he? What a rabbit, eh? Who would have thought? Who would have thought a rabbit was just like a dog? Not me. But anyway, so we got Harry, and like you can listen to the podcast I did before this. I can't remember what number it was. I think it was like 26 or something, where I talk about the time just after Sammy had been put to sleep, and just how much that affected me. Uh, you can go back and listen to that 'cause that's quite an emotional podcast that I did. But these two finally, after a long time, came together. They had a wonderful, it was a very short time, maybe 6 months of being best mates. And then obviously Harry lost his mate Sammy, and I wasn't really, I wasn't really too keen to get more rabbits. But once you've paired up a rabbit and you see how happy they are, bang, Luna came into our life. So it was back to Otautahi Animal Refuge, and we got ourselves another rabbit. And it just got me thinking about this person. They managed to get a premise in Stanmore Street in town, and they've managed to actually start building up this kind of enterprise, which is all charitable donations. People give donations to keep, and they basically they're running at a loss at the moment. They're just doing it out of the goodness of their own heart of being able to rescue animals and then move them on to homes for life. And they do a very good job. When we adopted the two rabbits, they'd come make sure your home is suitable. They'd ask you questions about how you look after them and the amount of space they would have and time outside, because it's very important that a rabbit gets to spend time outside on the grass, and not stuck in a small little area. So yeah, I absolutely fell in love with this organisation, Otautahi Animal Refuge, and your good money will be going towards them to sustain themselves as a charitable organisation that's helping to rehabilitate abused and animals that didn't get a great start at the beginning to then move on to a new place. So if you ever think about getting a rabbit, and I tell you what, get a rabbit because they're awesome. They're much better than dogs because they will. They're very clean. They have their own corner of the house that they use for their toilet and stuff like that. Very clean animals, very quiet, never make a noise. Well, they do, but that's another podcast. Anyway, I'm going to move on to update for what's going on with Glenn and I. I'm going to get Glenn on the podcast. It's bloody hard because he's such an introvert. He's not. He's an extrovert, but he just doesn't want to talk on a podcast. He's a strange boy like that. So we're actually going to do a trip coming up this Christmas time, between Christmas and New Year. We're going to do ourselves a long trip, looking to stay overnight somewhere. So I'll get the old phone out and I'll record our conversation, because I think knowing why we're doing this is always important to completing the goal in itself. If you have no reason to do it, why you're doing it in the first place. So he will give you the lowdown of why he's doing it and then how I jumped on board. We have, for the past couple of weeks, oh man, it's longer. That's almost a month. We've been terrible. We we haven't actually been out for a long ride, I think, in about 3 or 4 weeks. I just don't understand what's going on. This is the way it is, I suppose. Life gets in the way. Some weekends he's here, some weekends I'm not here. Blah blah, this, that, and the other. So look, we're looking to recenter ourselves, get ourselves back into this again, because I think it's important to keep that motivation up. Um, I'd love some ideas of how to keep the motivation up, because I must admit sometimes I think to myself, damn, this is happening in 2.5 months. Um, do I realize how big this journey is? Like 3,000 kilometers isn't a small little distance. That's a big chunk of time, effort, physical effort, mental effort. So yeah, I'm looking for ways to keep that motivation up. So if you've got any ways, tell me. If not, well, just watch me fail. That's all right. I'm happy with that. Right. Anyway, you've been listening to Chatting Up the Chick. Thank you for supporting this podcast. Thank you for supporting myself. Thank you for making donation if you have. It's going to two worthy causes: Big Brothers Big Sisters, or Otautahi Animal Refuge. Yes, yes, yes. You're all awesome. I'm all right. Your mother's all right. Wickeder, wickeder. See you next time.